House. Paul Fleming is in the house. Bridget MCP is in the house, as well as AVQ. Michael Rudnan. How are my peeps doing this afternoon? I trust everybody is ready to go for the 4th of July. Well, we are ready to go for the 4th of July. We're going to have Roberto and Norman's going to be over here this 4th of July. Maybe they'll bring me some Caribbean food. Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyhow, how are my peeps doing? I trust all is well. Anyhow, Bridge MCP says, Egberto, have already got something for the screen for you. Oh, ouch. But I got to show it, but ouch. Bridge, how did you come about that one? Man, but you know what? That's how they are acting. Anti-gay, anti-minorities, anti-women. You name it, that's who they are. That's who they've made themselves to be. But that is, in fact, a real thing. Oh my God, that's a tough one. But you know what? I'm showing it because these guys are really on my nerves. But anyhow, good one, Bridge. Good one. Anyway, what are you guys going to do for the 4th? Put in a chat. I want to hear what you guys are doing for the 4th. Anything special? Anything non-special? I know after this weekend, the Kingwood area Democrats, along with other Democrats around the county, we're going to be going out to a house somewhere on the lake, and we're going to be having a good little party. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do to celebrate the good ideas. Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to take the picture off, Bridge. Give me another one. That one just kind of irks me, kind of hits the wrong spot for me. It hits the wrong spot for me. Anyhow, for those who are on podcasts, they show the 9 justices. 3 women, Sotomayor, Kagan, and wow, I forgot her name. How can I forget her? Jackson. They are the 3. Imagine that 3 women, 1 Jewish white woman, 1 black African American woman, and 1 Latino is she Puerto Rican woman? That's there. The kangaroo court, she shows another one. That one is a bit more pleasurable, Bridge. That one is a bit more pleasurable. I must say, I posted, or rather, I put the other one on the screen with a bit of consternation watching them with it. No, it's not Barrett. Barrett is one of the right wingers, Eric, one of the folks that took women's rights away. Not Amy. I'm talking about Jackson. Katenji Jackson. Katenji. I can never say the name right. Anyhow, you know who I'm talking about. Anyhow, para ver. Eric says, great story on Rocco, owner of media company that has profits and not laid off anyone in years. This is the immigrant's success story that he tells of hustle and treat everyone with respect. So refreshing and inspiring that a billionaire can help others. It can and does happen aside from progressive attacks. Mediacom founder Rocco commissioned to feature on CBS. By the way, I saw that one and I was impressed with Rocco. I was very, very impressed with Rocco, and I like what he stands for. I like the idea. No, he's still a plutocrat now. You heard what he said. They hear me. Listen to what he said around the in Italy. They're going to do what I want them to do. They're going to do what I tell them to do. They know what, So I mean, he still has that feature where he wants to be. He's very patriarchal, but all in all together, he was one of the good ones, if you know what I mean. He was one of the good ones. So good story for real. I did like the Rocco story on 60 Minutes on Sunday, Eric. That was a good one. Eric also said the 238 criminal course, Chris Morton has been the subject of many of our breaking bond report. He has a history of granting multiple bonds. Again, Eric, you're barking up the wrong tree, but we'll talk about that some other time. Michael Renner said, Eric Hayes, all progressive ask of billionaires is that they pay their taxes properly. Exactly. That's not an attack unless if they're tax cheats, which most billionaires are. You get it? And not only that, I am, let me just say this, Rodnin. I want billionaires to pay their fair shares, but the fact that they became billionaires is what irks me as well. Because nobody has earned, notice what I said, nobody has earned a billion. It is a feature of our economic system that allows some to live on the backs of others and not their work or their worth that produces that set income, because nobody can really earn $1 billion. How do you earn $1 billion? It's a figment of our economic system. All right. Michael Rodden also, I read that one. Idea: you want free education tied to taxpayer and government assistance. You enlist and they will pay for it for your service. Look, I like the ideas that you get a free education and have to serve. I've said that if my daughter knew that she could go ahead and go to med school for free and have to go ahead and serve in underprivileged areas, she would do it in a heartbeat, right? So I think that's a discussion that sort of started from our, and by the way, we had a great, Eric, why don't you tell folks about it? You should probably call in and tell folks about it. We had a great Ask Egberto Anything, both from the left and the right. It was a very, very good stuff. A lot of people understood and learned a lot about others. It was a very good Ask Egberto Anything. I left that meeting refreshed, to tell you the truth. I left that meeting with a positive vibe saying, man, it's amazing that if people really sit down and tried it, they could actually work together. All right, what else have we got here? Michael Rodden says, our Supreme Court is the same breath as saying college admission should be colorblind. Thane says we should let business discriminate against LGBTQ people off a BS hypothetical case. But that's not all. The Supreme Court student loan decision shows they also want to crush young people. Yep, this Supreme Court needs to be unpacked. I agree. Paul Fleming says, I am supposed to have a major cookout at my place, but it's up in the air. I call my sister who lives close by for backup. The party must go on. Are you feeling sick? We still have to do our interview. I just been taken up. Actually, I'd love to do an interview maybe tomorrow, because it could play on KPFT. I have to prepare a tape for KPFT on Thursday. I did the one for 4th of July already. Our Breed says, Egberto, how Justice Thomas agreed with AA decision while he used it. You know, there are some people that says, I got mine however I could. Now I'm doing nothing to give you a hand up. I'm not going to keep the same ladder that I use for you. I did it with this ladder and I'm taking the ladder. They're just evil people. And you know, Bridge, that tells you how evil many of those guys on the right are, how evil they really are. Eric Hayes says, you want free work for it, period, if you are able-bodied. I don't think anybody has anything about that, Eric. And I think we kind of discussed that one. Because Paul Fleming, because we've had controlled government on more than one occasion and loopholes haven't been closed, we just have to elect people of courage and get the job done. I agree. Let's see what else we have. Egberto, what you just said, meme, get mine. Oh, okay, let's do it. Oh, you guys are going to get me in trouble, but I think I can leave it on for a few seconds. Got mine. F yours. That is a good one, Eric. Not Eric, that's a good one, Michael Rudden. Okay, for the first video, it's a message that I did at KPFT this morning that I think is present. So let's go ahead and get busy and get it played. Here we go. Just before the pandemic, and I think it was quite a bit before the pandemic, actually, when we were at the old KPFT studio, I did a piece titled, Republicans are setting up the courts for minority rule, even in a more progressive country. That was the title of that piece. And, you know, after I did that, I cut that clip out from the show several years ago. This last Supreme Court session proves everything that was said several years ago. I think this clip is 5 years old. I put it up 3 years ago, but I think it's 5 years old. The first thing I want to do is I want to play that clip because it is where we finally got to. Scary, but it's where we finally got to. Let's go ahead and play that clip. That piece that I played on the Constitution, when we talk about the merits of the Constitution, what I wanted to do with that argument about the Constitution and what Trump via McConnell is doing with the Supreme Court, with the district courts, with the circuit courts, is to explain something important to you. It's not enough for us to go out there and just say we want to win the presidency or we want to win this Congress seat or anything. We have to change the mold of the country, the psyche of the country, because there's so much that they know that most people don't. Like when McConnell is playing with the Supreme Court and playing with the district court and playing with the circuit court, a lot of people sit back and they don't think it has much impact on them. We are trying to establish a more perfect union. We are trying to establish a system that works for everybody, which means we no longer allow a plutocracy to take it all. But you know what? The American population is wising up, but they're already preparing for a wise population, and they're using the Constitution to prepare for that wise population. How so? Everybody who studied their government classes understand there's a judiciary, a legislative, and a executive. The legislative makes the laws, the executive executes the laws, and the judiciary interprets the law's constitutionality. Well, if we are going to win all these new elections and we are going to win the presidency, the only help the plutocracy could possibly have is the only undemocratic portion of the American system that was designed constitutionally, and that is the judiciary. The judiciary can take any piece of law that the legislative branch passes and the executive branch affirms and say a corporation who now owns all these judges can now say, well, that law is unconstitutional and it then cannot be implemented. We already have gerrymandering that has made the country a country that's not ruled by most. California has probably 40 million people or more, however million they have. And someone of the Dakotas have a few 100,000. And both of them get 2 senators. Wow, that's a lot of power for a little bit of people. And now the Supreme Court is preeminent. The Supreme Court is undeniably the most powerful branch of the government, and a lot of people don't tell you that. They always talk about, oh, we have the checks and balances. There ain't no check against the Supreme Court unless we're going to then implement the difficult thing that's called impeachment. But constitutionally, you can only impeach judges with either 3/5 or 3/4. I don't remember the number, which means you have to have a hell of a supermajority in Congress to do what you have to do. So folks, the way they intend to destroy the Roman intelligent middle class is to do the constitutionally undemocratic thing, and that is to use the courts. And that is to use the courts. I did that. I think, like I said, I think it was 5 years ago. And as Donald Trump faster than anybody, of course, now Biden has sort of mitigated that. They filled up the judiciary with a lot of incompetent ideologues during the Trump administration. And of course, Trump, a president that lasted 1 term, appointed 3 justices, 1.5 of them being stolen. In other words, they stole number 1 and they stole number 3, kinda. In that when they appointed Barrett, I think it's Barrett, the one that it was during, again, just right before the election. So what I'm trying to say is the reason they are so concerned about that judiciary, about the Supreme Court, is that under the current terms, the only option that you can have when you know that the policies you don't support, Republican policies proper, when you know your policies are not what America wants, and you know that you are electing a Congress and a president that more so than not decide that they want to support the American people, they want to make sure that American people get what they deserve, then what it is. Well, I did a TikTok last night because, I'm passionate about what's been happening to the Supreme Court. I'm passionate about what's happening in America because, I mean, for me, it's all about people. For us, it should always be about people. So I did a 1-minute TikTok. I want to play the TikTok that I did last night because I mean, it's funny. As soon as I threw it out, it was like it got 1,000 hits right away, right? And it was like for me that said this is why I'm glad that happens because we want people to know this stuff. So here is that TikTok, and then we'll go ahead and move on. But before I play that 1-minute TikTok, I want to say, what are your thoughts? Do you really understand what's being done in the Supreme Court? It's not about abortion. It's not about affirmative action. It's not about student loan. Those are very, very important. Those are rights, all that were snatched away from us, snatched away because 6 people said, that's what we can do. That's what the plutocracy wants us to do. That's what we will do. Right? But it's not about that. For all for all of MAGA that is cheering the demise of affirmative action, for all of MAGA that is out there thinking they don't want abortion. Of course, I have friends who are MAGA, and one of them recently, daughter got knocked up, and you know what they did? They're MAGA supporting all this judgment, and they took their kid to where again? Cross state lines, baby. And I mean, but that's another story. And it's not only about student loan, even in as much as MAGA can be saying, great Supreme Court, but half of the folks that got hit or that will get hit if the president doesn't mitigate what the Supreme Court did with the student loan issue are not going to be Democrats. They're going to be Republicans and independents whose personal economy was hit by the Supreme Court's decision. So you had a Supreme Court with the abortion decision hits women's personal economies, not only their bodies, but their personal economies. With the affirmative action, minorities from LGBTQ to Latinos, Black people, Asian, a lot of folks that affirmative action didn't give an upper hand. It's not what it did. It said recognize all those who are qualified. So all of those people's personal economies, as the prejudices of some come to the realities, and then of course we have the loan. So folks, right now it may be affecting a particular group that the Supreme Court is now preeminent. But do remember, ultimately, it'll affect all. I'm going to give that a little bit more context after I play it's actually like a 42-second TikTok. Here we go with it, my folks.
Whether you agree with the recent Supreme Court decision is not the issue. What's new is that 6 of the 9 justices on the court, a supermajority with many of their recent decisions, expose a flaw in our Constitution. These 6 Supreme Court justices have shown that they will rule the nation irrespective of what the majority of Congress and the president we elect vote into law on our behalf. This means the United States is ruled by 6 conservatives, and we will only get the laws and policies the billionaires demand that these justices allow. No to healthcare for all. No to family leave. No to living wage. No to subsidized daycare. No to a clean environment. No to renewable energy. That is what you get when you have 6 unelected justices that rule the nation.
Yes, that is what you get when you have 6 unelected judges appointed by a wannabe autocrat. Well, 3 of them have a wannabe autocrat. That is what we get. We get into office people who really has no care about the average person, and they'll use whomever they can to get that. And right now, for all my MAGA brothers and sisters, and I love you guys, I'm telling you, I have no animosity against any, and I repeat, any American. I don't care who you are. I don't care if I have no animosity against any Americans, because there's one thing I know, that the condition that we are in, the current state of degradation before we recover, is not your fault. It is an orchestrated effort to dumbify a country to ensure that it will support that not which it's their own interests, but the interest of a few. The environment affects us all. A living wage if it doesn't affect us because we may be doing very well, it affects many in our families, people that we love. So whenever we are doing things that are antisocial, anti-helping our fellow man, remember that as you support those particular types of policies, you're also supporting policies against people you purport to love, against many times your own blood. Absolutely so. Sometimes against your own blood. Well, of course, we need a moment of humor. We need a moment of levity. So let's go ahead and bring you that moment. Bridge MCP, when a gay hairdresser refused your service because the Supreme Court okayed it. And we have, I think she's from North Carolina or South Carolina, one of these senators with big hair. Yep, her hair is big and completely out of control. But I tell you what, there's one that I love from that Paul Fleming put out there, and it goes like this: selling gays a cake is participating in the marriage, but selling a gun to a shooter isn't participating in a murder. Where do you guys find these things, man? That was a good one, Fleming. That was a good one. All right, Bruce, welcome to Politics Done Right. Shakula Hairstylist, welcome to Politics Done Right. Great seeing you here. And if Lee Grant is in the house, as well as May Wood in the house. We've got a house that's filling up. If I forgot to call you out or missed you with my eyes, perdóname. That means forgive me. Perdóname, I remember, by the way, folks, yours truly used to be a declamador. What that means is we had contests, right? Declamando, saying poetry. And we had it in the first part of the year, I think we had it in English. And the second part of the year, we had it in Spanish. And of all the poems I had to memorize to compete in, there's only two that I remember, a verse of two. One is, I think, called Speed by Sandberg. We are speed, speed. We are the makers of speed. We make the, and I forget the rest. And then the Spanish one is, Señor, ya yo no quiero nada, nada ni el amor, porque el amor es simple motivo de dolor. Dame tan solo paz. Used to love saying poems, man. Used to love reading poems. And I have no idea why I just went into that mode and started talking about poems. Maybe it's because it's gonna be the 4th of July, and I'm already feeling some of the brethren that will be out to see me. They said, Egberto, I'm coming. Which I said, thank you, I'll be here. All right, Lee Grant wants us to impeach. He says, give it a try. Paul Fleming says, this first super moon of the day. What is a super moon again? Okay, let's show the super moon. Moon glows over California mountain sky ahead of the first year's super moon. What is a super moon? A big moon? When it's the closest point to the earth or something? I don't know. But there it is. I brought it up for Brother Paul, who gave me that link to it. All right, continuing. Egberto, you are in favor of gerrymandering the courts. What about? No, I'm not in favor of gerrymandering the courts at all, sir. No, sir. What else have we got coming down? I'm scrolling, folks. I'm scrolling. Let's see. Egberto, glad you're finding a viral base on TikTok, but just remember, anytime something really bad happens in our country, that platform's algorithms are set to amplify that message. That's true. Lee Grant says, Egberto, you ask for such radical change. Abolish the Supreme Court? No, I don't want to abolish the Supreme Court. I want the Supreme Court to be more reflective of society. Take our major sectors of the economy? No, I want to keep the major sectors of our economy But the sectors that deal with our humanity, I want to modify that so that humanity comes first. You might as well call for revolution, abolish the Constitution, and take over the state. No, not quite. We don't need a revolution. We just need, in some areas, a complete revamping, in other areas, modifications. That's all. That's not what I'm doing. Some folks would want you to believe that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay, what else we got here? Michael Rona, every case, are you looking at what the Supreme Court is doing with overturning precedent and ruling against the popular will of the American people? Tell me again who the activist judges are. Ding, 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 ding. She nails it. She nails it. Michael says, I swear, conservatives refuse to learn. Remember how Republicans were talking about activist judges since Reagan? That was just yet another accusation in the mirror. It's called projection in what they wanted to do. Now we got so many alt-right judges in every circuit court and the Supreme Court. They don't care that the American people want. They don't care what the American people want or about precedent. They just want to rule. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Lee Grant says, if you delegitimize the court and the rule of law, what laws can we break? The court has delegitimized itself. So therefore, my litmus test for laws are the laws that make people better, the laws that don't take away. Again, the Supreme Court is illegitimate. All right. Okay, what else we got here? Check this out. What is that, Mr. Fleming? Is it another good one? You guys are... All right, I'll give you that, Fleming. I'll give you that. I want my 11,780 points. I think you mean votes. But I get the pun. I get it. All right, who else is in the house? Carl Cox is in the house. He says mega corporations don't pay taxes. Get corporate welfare paid for by taxes paid by the bottom 99% de la gente. True. Love it, Paul. Every time I go to Twitter, it doesn't let me see it. Well, I'm showing it to you, my dear beautiful lady. I am showing it to you. Lee Grant says, I'm surprised a politico like Egberto doesn't know who she is. Could be the son. Who's who? I don't know. But I can't know everything, you know. I learn from you guys. I hope you guys learn from me. That's what it's all about. Communication. Bridge MCP says a supermoon is when it's closest to the Earth. Thank you for that clarification, my dear. Shakula, and you see, when I don't know something, I don't try to create or make things up. I just say, whoops, I don't know it. But I try not to do it in the same form that our former Governor Perry did. Remember, oops, I want to abolish four of the departments of the federal, of the executive. Name them, and he couldn't. Wow. Although, you know what? Sometimes you do get a brain fart. So I'm not going to hold that against him. Sometimes you do get a brain fart. All right, Shakula says, when the moon has a Superman cape. Oh, I like that. Guys, you guys don't get me with all this reading. Michael Runner says, Lee Grant impeachment requires a high crime, but yep, if you got proof such, impeachment is the solution. But he says the term supermoon was coined in 1979, and it's often used to describe the astronomers who call a perigeuan full moon. A full moon occurring near at the time when the moon is in the closest point in the orbit around the Earth. Got it. Shakula here, Silas says the courts can stop waging war against the people or die by the sword they wield. I love that. What else we got here? Okay, I'm going to go to the next video and let's get busy. Before this, Eric says, Egberto, have you read any of the court findings in the law's perspective? Yes. What else have we got here? Egberto, you are not the almighty Oz. No, I'm not. I don't ever pretend to be. Bridge MCP say, Egberto, gotta shut down the supermoon in the background. Hard to hear you. You're hard to hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Sorry for that. I'll boost it up. It's probably that I moved the moon away. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Let's go ahead and play the other video. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Welcome aboard, Wes. I'm so sorry. I've been told by the guys at KPFT, keep your face in the mic. And too often I forget to do it. Sorry about that. All right, let's go ahead and play that other video. Here we go. Christie tags Trump.
Revealed again this week, it was found that Donald Trump also attempted to get the governor of Arizona to overturn the election in his state in favor of Donald Trump. And Dana Bash asked Christie whether he thought that Trump needed to go to jail, pay the penalty for what he's done in Arizona, also Georgia, etc. And Christie, many won't put any bets on him winning the Republican primary. The one interesting thing that he's doing is he's cauterizing in the minds of those who are still thinking on the Republican side that, in effect, Donald Trump lost all those swing states that he lost. And not only did he lose the swing state, he was instrumental in why he lost those swing states. And I love the way Christie put it. And it boiled down to Trump being a caricature and Trump accomplishing nothing. Check this out, and we'll take it on the other side.
You've talked a lot about the former president's lies about 2020 and, of course, what happened on January 6th. We learned this week that Donald Trump pressured Arizona Governor Doug Ducey in a phone call after the 2020 election to help overturn Trump's election loss. That's according to a source familiar with the matter. As you know, Trump is under investigation for a similar phone call in Georgia. Is that acceptable to you, and could it be criminal?
We're going to let the prosecutors decide whether it's criminal or not. I did do that for 7 years. And what I know is you got to know all the evidence to make that kind of judgment. So we shouldn't be making those judgments till we hear all the evidence. But is it acceptable? It's absolutely unacceptable to be pressuring a governor or any elected official, as it was with the Secretary of State in Georgia, to try to find votes to be able to win a state that you didn't win, or to try to somehow come up with some kind of ridiculous theory to overturn the results in Arizona. Let me tell you why he lost Arizona. He lost Arizona for the same reason he lost Pennsylvania, he lost Michigan, he lost Wisconsin, and he lost Georgia, because he had become a caricature of himself, because he had not done the job the American people elected him to do. He had failed on his promises to balance the budget, failed on his promises to build the wall, and led the Republican Party to loss after loss after loss. Look, this is the kind of debate, Dana, that I want to have on the stage with Donald Trump starting August 23rd. And if people want to see that debate, go to chrischristie.com, donate. I'll be on the stage and we'll have that debate.
One last question before I let you go. If the former president is convicted of any of the crimes that he is accused of, and that crime would put anybody else in jail, should he, a former president, go to jail?
Look, Dana, we're going to see how the trial goes. I will tell you this. There is a presumption of jail with these charges. And that's the truth of the matter. Now, at the time he'll be convicted, he would be 78 or 79 years old. That also is going to be taken into consideration by any court, as it would for any other 78 or 79-year-old person, about whether they would go to jail or not either. Okay. I don't want Donald Trump treated any differently than any other American. And I don't want him treated worse, and I don't want him treated better. I want to make sure that the facts come out. And if a jury finds him guilty, I want a judge to make that call.
So when statements like that come from a Democrat, normally a Republican listener would say, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But when it comes from a Chris Christie, while the MAGA folks won't listen to him, the Republicans who were going for Trump because they believed the rhetoric that, he accomplished something, he fulfills something that was worthwhile. They come to their senses and say, well, maybe he got those 3 Supreme Court judges, which are, we know, pretty darn evil. But the one thing that Krista points out is the middle class has still suffered under Donald Trump. Many bad things have happened under Donald Trump, including the people that got killed from the pandemic, who should not have a pandemic, that should not have gotten where it is. So altogether, Christie may not win. I think folks need to be careful about that, however. But I tell you what, he's at least making the case to Republicans that would listen. And to some, well, I won't go there, the Republicans that would listen, that in fact, this man lost, and he lost justifiably, even if you are a Republican.
We absolutely so. He lost. Let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP says, let's see. First of all, let's see what we got here. Para ver. We have a picture with Donald Trump in his scrubs. Prison scrubs, that is, playing basketball and asking for his 11,718 points. Here it is. Florida moves from Bridge MCP. Florida moves forward on radioactive road paving plans as Governor DeSantis signs new law. Florida is another step closer to paving its roads with phosphogypsum, a radioactive waste material from the fertilizer industry, after Governor DeSantis signed a controversial bill into law. Thursday, conservation groups have urged DeSantis to veto the bill. Using phosphogypsum would hurt water quality and put road construction crews at a higher risk of cancer. Florida lawmakers want to use radioactive material to pave roads. National Florida lawmakers want to use radioactive material. Why is it repeated? By signing off on this reckless handout for the fertilizer industry, Governor DeSantis is paving the way for taxes legacy generations of Florida will have with at least Florida and Caribbean Director of Center for Biological Control. Okay, I hadn't heard that story, but that's a hell of an interesting story. Michael says Chris Christie is running a targeted campaign to bring Trump down over his fire hose of lies so that the Republican Party can finally get over Trumpism. Small government, libertarians rise up against the worst kind of authoritarianism. True. Russ MCT, the 6-3 MAGA majority court is illegitimate. Why do we have to honor their decisions? They lied to senators to get their positions. They are an illegitimate court. I agree. Paul Fleming says, my wife and I celebrated 33 years of marriage on Friday, and so tonight I'm taking her out to an Alicia Keys concert. Congratulations, 33 years. Guess what? You and I got married, I think, the same year. I got married in 50. Oh, hear me, 50. What's wrong with me? In 87. I think I've got the same amount of years, brother. 33. Ouch. Let's see what else we got here. Awesome, Paul. Happy anniversary. Yes, sir. Happy anniversary to you, sir. Audio good. Thanks, Egberto. Well, it's my fault that it wasn't good before. I asked your forgiveness, and I'll boost it automatically when I reprocess the video. Okay, let's go to the last video. Tony Dorsett, 33. I remember Tony Dorsett. He was good. Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's go ahead and play our last video. That last video is Christie nails DeSantis. I want you guys to listen to this one good. I want you to listen to it good. He sounded like a darn progressive, Christie did.
Chris Christie nails both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Why? Ron DeSantis put out an ad, and the ad was I looked at the ad as some sort of soft, macho-driven, soft porn attacking Donald Trump on policies that have nothing to do with helping the American people. Well, Chris Christie had a good attack on both of them, and he said they are absolutely doing nothing. Chris Christie actually sounded, in that little snippet, in that just little, between those few words, like a progressive. In other words, you guys are doing nothing to solve the problems at all. And I want you to listen to how he did it.
The DeSantis campaign tweeted a new video hitting President Trump for celebrating Pride Month, touting DeSantis' anti-LGBTQ record as governor. I know you've seen this video. Are you comfortable with it?
I'm not comfortable with it, and I'm not comfortable with the way both Governor DeSantis and Donald Trump are moving our debate in this country. You know, we have 9.5 million children in this country every night who go to bed hungry. We have 21% of our students in the 10th grade saying that they're using hard illegal drugs. And this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. This is what I mean, Dana, that we're trying to make this country, and their debate is trying to make this country smaller. They're trying to divide us further. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. We have big issues to be talking about here. The runaway inflation, how our students' educational results are down again this year across the country and non-competitive with other parts of the world. And this type of video does nothing to address those issues. And it is a teenage, food fight between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. And I don't think that's what leaders should be doing. And it certainly doesn't make me feel inspired as an American on the 4th of July weekend to have this type of back and forth going on at all. And it's wrong to be doing it. And it's narrowing our country and making us smaller. I want a country that is going to be bigger and going after the big issues that will make every American feel better about themselves.
All right. Okay, Bridge, let me know if it stops. Right now, I have a hunch of what it could be. Let me know if it stops. I think I know what the problem is. Did it stop now? All right. Okay. Para ver qué vamos a hacer. Tom C says, just got in. Okay, that was my fault. I had the thing still playing in another window, and I can't hear it. I'm surprised you guys heard it. All right, Susan, Susan, you're at 44, Bruce. Not like you're much older than me, Bruce. That is great. Let's see what else we got. Eric K says, Chris, the drug and education issues are policy now, so we might recheck who is in charge. Tom C says, just got back from sailing. Too many motor boats out on the lake, making waves and burning fossil fuel. Sailing only use the wind as a green energy. Thank you for clearing that up, but we knew it. I knew you did. LOL, Egberto. ¿Qué pasó, mujer? All right, Egberto, Chris Christie mentioned a bunch of policy problems, offered no actual policy positions for what they're going to do with those listed problems. Republicans do this often because they have no solutions. That's what they always do. Shakula, hairstylist, says, roll that talking whale back into the ocean. Shakula, why did you talk about Christie that way, Shakula? Why? Eric says, I might go ride jet ski tomorrow, but no solar for that. Not yet, but you can get an electric one, can't you? Actually, I don't know if they probably do have electric ones. I would imagine they would. I don't see why they wouldn't. Of course, they'll have to kind of protect it because if you're going to use it in salt water, you get that conduction kind of a problem, right? But anyhow, what can I say? Anyhow, folks, I got to go finish preparing. I did most of it, the show for tomorrow, which will be some stuff you haven't heard before, but it's going to be live, but not live, right? And I got to go prepare another show as well for KPFT. So I want to take off a little bit early to get a few things done before Howard goes to sleep. If he heard me say that, he'll scream at me. But anyhow, Candy Larry, welcome to Politics Done Right. Candy Larry says, hello, dear friend. It's really nice meeting here. I would like to know more about you, okay? I'm so sorry to comment on your timeline. It was because I was trying to send you a friend request. Wait a minute. Am I getting spammed? Is that who you are, Candy Larry? Uh-oh. All right. Anyhow, folks, real quickly, I'd like to ask you guys to please remember, if you are on YouTube right now, consider clicking that join button and become a member of the PDR Posse. We need to get our numbers up on the PDR Posse, so I ask you so kindly to please go ahead and please go ahead and get rid of Candy Larry. I think she's a bot. I think Candy Larry is a bot. I think it's a bot. Anyway, so folks, please go ahead and support the program by hitting that join button if you are on YouTube. Alternatively, please consider becoming a member by one of the various methods inside of our support link right there, politicsdoneright.com/support, politicsdoneright.com/support. And likewise, Egberto, I have some oxygen for sale. Thank you. I need some oxygen. Please support us at politicsdoneright.com/support. And if you are so kind, please help us. I haven't been getting any new contributions for the trip to Chicago, but then again, that's my fault for being one of the lousiest campaigners, one of the lousiest fundraisers. But please consider supporting our program, our trip to where again? Our trip to Chicago for Netroots Nation. And there on the screen, as you can see right now, are all the options that you get. You become a producer. You become a producer and a supporter that will be on the end of each of our videos, and then have all these other things that I provide as well. Eric giving mouth to mouth again. Ha, ha, ha. Yes. Anyway, folks, I'm leaving 10 minutes early today because I've got to go ahead and finish a few other programs. Those of you that are just coming on, the show will be repeated today, probably around 10 o'clock, cleaned up with all the audio fixed since according to Bridge, I screwed up earlier. Anything else people want to say before I jump off? Anything anybody puts up? You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Throw it in the chat for me to read. And then we are going to be out of here. Throw it in the chat. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th. Be patriotic. We all will be patriotic. We all will be patriotic. Patriotic to our fellow man. Anything else anybody else wants me to say before I go? Anything else, folks? All right. Let me wish everybody a very happy 4th of July. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of your fellow person. Please make sure to love on each other. If we could just put a bit more love into the world, I'm pretty sure we would have a much better America. And the right and the left, even if they have a few differences, will see things much more the same than we do right now. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this. Baby, I am what? Out! We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please.